Looking to improve your life, brush up on your personal growth techniques? You are in the right place. Welcome to Life's Little Lessons with your host, author of Designing Your Own Destiny, Kevin A. Dunlap.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Life's Little Lessons. This is Kevin Dunlap, and today I have a gentleman that was actually born in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, but however, he was raised for the most part, in America. And this is a gentleman. His name is Andrew Matthews. He's actually a local Las Vegas resident, and he's actually had a company that called Metta Agency, and then he merged with another company called Prime Motions to actually form a company just a few weeks ago at the recording of the show. It's now called Prime Metta. So I want to welcome to the show Andrew Matthews. And Andrew, thank you for joining us today on the show.
Kevin, thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to connect with you and finally be able to have this, video chat.
Oh, I love this. And this is also going to be an audio recording as well. So a lot of people are just going to be able to hear us. They won't be able to see us. Only the people that are actually subscribing to our YouTube channel or going to my webpage at kevinadunlap.com under the video interviews, or possibly wherever you might be promoting it yourself as well. So Andrew, tell us a little bit about yourself. What is Prime Metta, and was it an incarnation of something before that you guys merged a few weeks ago?
Yeah, so just for context, I am in downtown Las Vegas. I do apologize for the noise. I am outside. The day is beautiful. The sky is blue. But I'm 28 years old. I believe that I am, by DNA, an entrepreneur. Like, holding a job was never a thing for me. When growing up in Brazil, I grew up with parents that always told me to go to school, go to college, get a degree, get a career, retire. And so when they shipped me out to Virginia to go to college, I went with that intention, and 1.5 years in, I dropped out and I dove into online marketing and website sales and search engine optimization. Like, I really went down that route. So from an early point in my adult stage in life, I knew that I wanted to build a business. I just didn't know what. And so this 10-year journey from 18 to 28 now has been interesting, and it's led to many, failures and successes. And so Andrew, the human being, is a person that loves to play soccer, loves to travel, loves electronic music, loves a rave. And any place really where there's people with high energy, high frequencies, that's where I want to be. I am normally smiling, laughing, telling jokes, and always looking for the next adventure. Yeah.
Well, fantastic. And could you tell us a little bit about what Prime Metta is? What does Prime Metta do? What is your role in that company?
Sure. So Prime Metta is a digital agency that helps brands build their audiences online through video storytelling. And Prime Metta was born through a merger between a videography company and my digital marketing company. Because of the importance of the creation of content to grab attention online, I believe that I needed to add way more, firepower towards my creative storytelling. And so that's where my co-founder, Sebastian Giovanni, and I reached an agreement to merge our companies and join forces, join clientele, and really create the most authentic yet effective strategies for our clients to grow their audience online.
Okay. So is this kind of like a branding kind of a thing, or is it something different from branding, or is branding part of it?
It's part of it. I like to call it holistic marketing. I mean, we don't just do one thing. We know what works holistically, and so we implement everything that we can for our clients, because we don't see our clients as clients, we see them as business partners, and we're engaged to make their business grow, because if their business grows, then we have an equity stake in that growth. So we go a little bit beyond than just an agency that represents a client. We immerse ourselves in the business of our client.
So it sounds like you kind of have like a vested interest in your
Absolutely.
client.
Yeah, because there's way more incentive when you know that, like, you get a cut of the bottom line as opposed to just getting a flat retainer or whatever the format is that you structure. When you have a strong incentive to allow you to not have a limit or a ceiling of potential revenue or growth or whatever that is for you, then really you're motivated to do more, ever more. You don't want to stop growing. It's addictive.
And that makes a lot of sense. I can see it from a customer's perspective. It's like, okay, I'm not just paying you to do something, and then if I don't like your services, your heart may not be in it. But when you have your heart in it, then I could definitely see where that could be extremely beneficial to not only yourself, to your own bottom line, but also to the customer, your client's bottom line. Or
the clients feel more comfortable with someone that is putting on their jersey. They're putting on that shirt, like they say in Brazil, you put on a shirt to play for the team. And that's exactly the attitude that I implement here at Prime Metta, it's like, I want you to know that I'm present all the time, ready to work, ready to do things, ready to strategize, ready to plan. And then people really take off their guard when that happens. And so I built the most amazing relationships through this connection of showing them that I truly care, truly care. My clients love me. They don't like me. They love me, and I love them. And so I only want to work with people that I can love. And so it becomes way more than just, business. It transcends business.
Oh, fantastic. And I can tell by just a look in your face and the sound of your voice that you're very passionate about this.
Yeah.
And how did you get into this kind of business? How did you get into this field?
Yeah, so this is the twister, right? In 2010, 2011, I was working for an adult company, pornography company. And my role there was to be a computer or video editor, all right? And so I could say that video editing started my life through this weird outlet. And there's a reason why I bring this up. It's not to show off that I was in that world when I was 21, although it was cool at that age. I was able to see the engine behind what leads that industry to where it's at today. It's a huge industry, hundreds of billions of dollars goes through that industry every year. So how do you propel that? How do you sustain it? And so they had 400 employees building websites all day, doing SEO all day, doing keyword research, 10 people doing Photoshop editing, 10 editors editing video. It was a huge machine, right? And so I was like, man, I got to get into online marketing world because I understand the engine. I see what needs to be done to rank on the first page of Google to get the most attention. Of course, yielding away from that industry, going into something more, let's say, civil, something that I could do on a day-to-day basis without going nuts because, repetition gets old. But that's exactly the seed of, or the genesis of how I got into digital marketing. It was through seeing someone else's engine and going whoa, let's go build a car. And so now, that was 2011. Fast forward to 2017, we have a holistic marketing agency, holistic digital marketing agency that fulfills any need that you might have online. What do you need to do to build your audience? I have the ability to do that. And so I pride myself, or I'm happy that I can say that today and have the power to do so, as opposed to having to hire out someone to do that work for me. No, I can take care of it in-house.
And that's actually kind of interesting that you mentioned that you got started in the adult industry, doing the video editing, is that you actually got involved with a company that you could see all the interior workings of that company, how everything's being done before you went and started something on your own. That was something similar, not adult related, but just in the marketing area. And that I think is a very important aspect, because I know for myself, I've actually done some volunteer work at different courses for putting on live events, just so I can see how does all the interworkings behind the scene, behind the curtain actually works. And if those of you that are entrepreneurs out there, and I mean, I'm sure Andrews could be a great resource for you guys to help you build your brand, build your business, build your thing. But if you're going to be getting started in a new arena, a new area, go and do some work for that arena. I mean, if you're going to become an author, go volunteer for a few hours at a bookstore. Go work in that industry so you could actually see all the little nuances that you may not even be aware of that are involved in that business. And I'm so glad that you mentioned that. I've not actually talked to anybody else that's actually done anything like that. So thank you for sharing that with us, Andrew.
Yeah. Well, I am authentic. I am transparent. I feel like it's one of the most progressive things that someone can be, is just be 100% real. Be who you are without having to hide anything or be shy about something. I mean, we're all humans at the end of the day. We're all relating to each other. We're all trying to connect. And so if I can just express myself 100% freely, then I'm being selfish in a sense, because I get to accelerate my growth, because the more people that know what I need or the things that I'm doing, the more they're in tune with how they can help, how they can add value, and vice versa. I'm all about adding value to people, even if it's not related, even if I don't make money. It's really about just pushing humanity upward, forward. I truly believe in that. And
it's good karma as well, because you're just adding more positive energy to the world and the universe. So that's great.
Surrounded by it, man.
And also want to say, you're probably the youngest person that I've had on the show so far. So how long have you been an entrepreneur? Would you mind me asking?
Yeah, no, not at all. I'd say for real, so 2015 January. That's when it went full time for real. It's do or die.
Okay, so at the recording of this recording, I don't normally date my shows, but this show is actually being recorded in December 2017. So next month it'll be your 3-year anniversary.
3-year anniversary, man. Time has flown by. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And I'm so glad to hear that you did not do the classic thing of having to go to college, do your 4 years. One of my previous mentors, and not to say anything, it's not to knock college. I mean, I went to college, I got my degree. I even went to grad school. I didn't finish my thesis, so I don't have my master's. But one of my mentors that I actually came across in 1999, what he called college was advanced employeeism. So what it teaches you is how to be a better employee in a specific field. Like, for example, if you go get your degree in marketing, well, you're grooming yourself to become a marketer at some other company. You're not really grooming yourself to become your own entrepreneur. So I'm so glad to hear that you're kind of like Bill Gates. You know, he dropped out of college to build Microsoft. So there's so many people that you're following in the same kind of footsteps. And I'm so proud and so glad to see your enthusiasm and that you're actually making it happen. And at the recording of the show, Prime Metta is actually just 3 weeks old. I mean, it was a merger between your company, Metta Agency, with another company called Prime Motions.
Right. That's precisely right.
Could you tell me a little bit about how did that merger occur, or how could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Sebastian, he's a dear friend that I call brother now. We met last year, 2016, mid-2016, through a mutual connection. We both went to an event to shoot video, and that's where we met. That's where I saw Sebastian doing his thing. The guy's an artist, like truly a video artist, and I didn't have those video chops that he has, so I had this natural inclination to want to collaborate, not work together, not build a business, just shoot some videos together to learn. So from that beginning, we started, hanging out, shooting videos, doing photo sessions, and in 2017, around February, when I kicked off Metta, I said, Sebastian, let's work together. Let's build an agency and showcase our videos and build a clientele. And he's like, super down, let's start out. And around the same time, a friend of mine, Nick Koyama, another visual advocate, videographer out of Santa Barbara, he was starting his company, the Visual Era, and he was looking for, a senior videographer. And that's when Nick went, boom, come over, Sebastian, come to Santa Barbara and come work with me. And so from February up until 3 weeks ago, Sebastian was in Santa Barbara helping Nick kick off the Visual Era. Once his tenure was done with the Visual Era, he came back to Vegas and we kicked off Prime Metta.
Okay. What cities are you based in right now?
Las Vegas and Miami.
Miami. Yeah, because I was going to say, how did you pick a city so far across the country?
Yeah, we're network based. It's really, I have a lot of friends. So because I was able to travel so much at an early age, I have so many families, quote unquote families, in multiple cities in Brazil, in the United States, in Europe, in Asia. And so my true goal is to hang out with all of my friends more often through my business, making that lifestyle possible.
So you're almost starting from the beginning of making your business international, sounds like.
Yeah, it already is international. I do consulting for Brazil. We're launching a vegetable protein company in Brazil called Bionetic Nutrition. They hired us to help evangelize their brand, to teach them how to evangelize their brand to their audience. So I guess you can say we're international. We don't like to say it like that, like if we're not being humble. We want to let our successes speak for ourselves. And so once the success itself, we'll put it on our portfolio and our case study. And then that's where I guess it could be said.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're South America. You say you got families in Asia and Europe as well. I mean, that's the 4 main continents. You got North and South America.
Yeah, they're friends. When I say family in that context, they're truly friends that I've known for 10, 15, even 20 years sometimes. In Miami, where I did live for a period of time throughout many stages of my life, I have friends that date 25 plus years because they were carrying me as a baby. I do have 2 older brothers, and so that allowed me to have access to older friends, 10 plus years older than I am. My brothers are 40, 39, I'm 28. So that was another thing that added a ton of value to me as a human, is being able to grow up with people that are not very, but like a decade older than I was, to then see how life kind of was before it happened to me. So it was like a trailer, a preview to the future. And using that to my advantage meant getting experience from an early age, listening to cue music that my friends weren't listening to, but they would listen to it 6 months later. when I was already listening to it. So this is, of course, growing up in the 90s, early 2000s, when the internet apps, mobile phones, mobile internet data wasn't really a thing. Like, I'm really thankful for how my life kind of played out so far. I'm very grateful and super enthusiastic about the future.
So what gave you this entrepreneurial spirit?
Like I said, I grew up with parents that were, my mom was a public math teacher, a public school math teacher, and my dad, CEO, corporate life, all the way to the top. So like we have these opposites, but with the same message. What's the same message? My dad said, go to college, get a career, retire. My mom said, get a public job, work for 10 years or 15 years, and then retire for a very long time. That's how the Brazilian system works. And I think that my entrepreneurial bug stemmed from watching The Social Network. The Social Network was a movie launched in 2010, telling the story of the founders of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg and Eduardo Saverin. Eduardo Saverin is Brazilian, grew up in Miami, and my brother David dated his sister Michelle Saverin. And so we used to hang out with Eduardo as a child, as a kid, and this is way before his success. And so when I saw his success through Facebook, I felt like, man, that could be me, because that's Eduardo, that's the homie. So now Eduardo is, extremely successful. He's probably in the top 10 most richest people in Brazil, although he doesn't live in Brazil, lives in Singapore now. In 2010, when I watched that movie, as soon as that movie ended, I said, I'm going to build a huge mobile app business, because I just watched them build Facebook, right? So like, man, I got to do the same. I've since changed my mentality. I've grown, I've matured, but it dates back to that moment in 2010 when I watched that movie. I was like, man, I'm going to be a businessman. I'm going to be an entrepreneur.
Okay, and that's also very good to hear how movies, and I'm a very big proponent of movies and how they can motivate people. I even wrote a book, which is called right there, it's called Designing Your Own Destiny. And one of the things I put in there is that all the quotes that begin, because it's a personal growth book, so all the quotes that are in there that start every chapter, instead of being like a Gandhi quote or John F. Kennedy quote, they're all movie quotes. Because I feel that people learn so much from movies, because they could take you away. It's like, yes, The Social Network was a great movie, and it can be very inspirational. So I'm so proud to hear you say that. One other movie that came to mind is probably a little bit before your time. It was starring Danny DeVito, and it was called Other People's Money. And there is a monologue that he gives toward the end of the movie about why he's taken over this company, and he's basically just going to scrap it, and which is going to basically destroy this entire town. And he gives this whole movie about this whole quote about, if you were the best buggy whip manufacturer in the world and we're all now driving cars, you don't need buggy whips anymore. So, and it was a very, very inspirational quote. So it's great how that you're using that movie as a launch pad for your successes that you're doing now.
Yeah. People relate to movies big time because they watch it, and because it's a 2-hour flick, 90 to 120 minutes. That's a deep conversation you're having with the movie, in a sense, and you're listening most of the time. So movies are, in my opinion, a huge player in the influencing of someone's mind. So referring back to them could trigger, who knows what type of context you can trigger in there by using those type of references.
Absolutely. And now I'm going to go into some of your successes. Now, what were some of your early successes with your original company, which was called Metta Agency? And could you tell us a little bit about that? Because that was your first company. That was your original company before your merger.
Yeah. So my Metta Agency was built on vlogging, my friend.
Vlogging, awesome.
Yeah. In 2015, I became a huge fan of Casey Neistat. Casey Neistat is a video storyteller out of New York City that began vlogging every day, and I started watching his vlogs every day. So subconsciously, I realized that, wow, this is a great way to tell story in 2015. Vlogging, the vlogging format. And in what I call a vlogging format, it's basically you start out with a title and a time lapse and some music, and then add some story to it, and then back to some music and B-roll footage, and then back to story. And so it's how you display info. It's how you serve the video to the person that makes it interesting. And Casey Neistat, hit it on the nail with his vlogs. And so I said, man, I'm going to start shooting vlogs for myself for fun. And so I started shooting vlogs, and then people started contacting me for video work. And I said, well, this is interesting. I'm not advertising. I'm not selling myself. I'm not saying hire me. I'm making vlogs of me moving from one house to the other, of me going to work, of me trying to find clients. So I'm just documenting, showcasing what I am doing. And through that, people started inquiring about business. And so they asked for a video. And then from asking for a video, they asked for a website, and then they asked for SEO, they asked for everything. And so I then realized another success was that if you just offer what everyone needs, then they'll trust you with the rest.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, through vlogging, who no one offers, essentially no one, I became like a very unique service provider in Vegas. I was able to get the whole thing, the whole pie, the whole cake, if you will. And so I stopped selling everything else, and I just started creating content and showing who I am as a person and connecting with more and more people. And that created trust, that created bonds, that created so many things that I can't even imagine, so many factors that now, like, we have to say no to business. We have to say, sorry, we can't handle you because we don't want to grow fast. We want to grow organically. We understand that there's infinite abundance in this world. There's so many opportunity. So we take our time with our process, with caring for our message, and being extremely zealous towards positioning ourselves as people that want to make videos truly fun again, engaging, and not boring. Like, as soon as someone gets in front of the camera, there's camera fright. You're not yourself. You become this other person, become a robot. And then we're the people that are trying to make you laugh. We're trying to make you feel something. At the end of the video, you want to press play again and watch it, right? So in order to do that, we need to like throw out all the rules and kind of like write new ones so that people, when they press play and watch a video again, they're not going to be bored. They're not going to say, oh, forget this and leave. They actually want to watch the whole thing because it's just the right amount of time. It's just the right amount of message. It's just the right amount of music. It's just the right amount of would need for a video to have. And so like it all started out from vlogging, and then we built a digital marketing offering around creating videos. And now we're just propelling to new heights. We're looking at, working with reggaeton artists, working with like celebs and helping them kind of like organize their tribe in one location, not to monetize them. Of course, monetization is part of the process, but to grow their influence. And I believe that power is way more valuable than any money that you can pay someone. If you have power, then you could literally use those words, that influence, to get people to buy your book, or to get people to go watch you play a concert, or to help raise funds for disaster relief. I mean, that's what I care about, the impact. And that's why I want to align myself with people that are creating positive impact, because I'm all about being ethical. And so if I'm going to give power to someone, I hope that person is ethical as well, so that they can use that power for the good.
Okay. When you're saying vlogs, your stuff is a lot more intricate than just doing a Facebook Live or YouTube Live or a live stream. You film stuff, then you actually have to go and edit it, put in the B-roll, as you were saying, which is B-rolls. Could you tell people what B-roll is in case they don't know what it is?
Absolutely. So yeah, in one of my vlogs, I explained what B-roll is. By default, I thought, everyone knows what B-roll is, right? Wrong. B-roll is supplementary footage, normally footage that is overlaying on the videos. It's what you're seeing, but you hear someone else talking, or you hear something else going on. It's footage that supplements what's being said.
So it's not necessarily the talent being in front of the camera. You could be shooting traffic on Fremont Street is your B-roll, and then your music and other stuff that you're adding in. So your vlogs are a lot more intricate because you had to add in and edit all the stuff later on. And of course, if you're shooting the talent, you may be doing 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 takes before they're feeling comfortable enough in front of the camera to be authentic in front of the camera.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why I see vlogging as being more effective for the talent, or for the person that's being filmed, the client, if you want to call a person that, it's less overwhelming, or it's not as overwhelming as, setting up for shoots, setting up 100 lights, microphones, quiet on the set, action, like all that stuff. It's kind of like you're putting the person into some sort of pressure cooker. With vlogging, I'm holding a camera with a vlogging stick. It's a DSLR 70D Canon, and there's a shotgun microphone on it. And so I could literally be holding the camera around my chest because I'm a tall guy. I'm 6'3", and my clients are normally shorter than I am. So I could just, it's as if I'm just holding a coffee in my hand and pointing the camera at the person. The person doesn't even have to look at the camera. They're just talking, being themselves, and still they're flowing. So it makes for better content. So that's one example. That's vlogging. That's how the business started. Now we have very elaborate systems where we use cameras as as small as like a Sony A7S II, which is a good camera for good capturing of 4K footage, all the way to RED cameras, $50,000 cameras that shoot in 8K. There's no TV that has 8K ability, but we're shooting in 8K if that's a possibility for the client, if that's what they want. I mean, there's several benefits for that, but not to get too techie, we now handle the whole thing through the merger with Prime Motion's specializing in cinematography and storytelling.
And for those entrepreneurs out there that could be your clients in the future, and they're not really branding themselves, branding their faces, and I do understand the importance of branding. I'll go through my story, then I'll ask you the question. In 2009, because I'm also here in Las Vegas, one of my sources of income is actually real estate. And one of the things I've done in the past was I would actually film myself at every single house and do a walkthrough. After so many years, people were actually calling me for the very first time. I don't know who they are. They're calling me at 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm meeting them at 1 o'clock in the afternoon to go show them a house. And this was a lease option home. And let's say that required a $7,000 option. They're giving me $7,000 in cash. And I'm not, the only thing they're walking away with is a telephone list of all the telephone numbers. They don't even have a signed contract because I have to take it into the office to scan it in. And that is the power of video. And just branding yourself is that trust factor that comes in. Yes. So could you explain a little bit to say an entrepreneur that may be hiring you and there's, let's say, whatever their company is, let's say that they're going to be website design, whatever it is. How important is it to get their face in front of the camera so that other people could see during your marketing campaigns?
Yeah, I'd love to just congratulate you for doing what you did. That's so early on, creating videos, creating awareness around what you're doing. And it takes courage to do that. It takes a lot of energy, dedication, and all of that paid off through people recognizing you through the web and then calling you and then leading to business deals. That's the perfect case study. What I would tell entrepreneurs that are thinking about branding themselves, their company, look, your company will die before you, hopefully, right? Like, you want to live as long as possible. What I'm trying to say is your name lasts forever. Build your brand name. You're like Andrew Matthews. I focus on building that so people know me for who I am as a person. And then if I happen to have a real estate company, or if I happen to have a car company or anything, digital marketing company, they'll want to work with me because of who I am as a person. That's what changed the game for me, is being able to relate to people as a human first before saying what I do. Because it's really not that important from my point of view. So once I started implementing, hey guys, kind of like how you did, doing my vlogs, introducing people into my intimate space, I created some sort of celebrity in people's mind, not to be famous, but to be known. And so now I'm known for that guy that loves playing around and being, a jokester, loves to add value, loves to answer questions, loves to be helpful, plays soccer. Like, everyone knows that because it's public information. It's visually public. People see me doing it through a video. So I guess the process is just being able to humanize your communication using the internet, which is a digital platform, right? Like, how do you do that? Well, you flip on a camera and then you record yourself having a conversation with your audience or just sharing a quick tip. That's humanizing the process. Don't be mechanical. Don't be a robot. Be yourself. And if you are a mechanical robot, then perfect.
Well, and the thing is, and if you're just getting started, you're shooting your first video, would you agree with me that it doesn't have to be perfect?
Actually, 100%. Look out for making it horrible, actually. All right, because that's the worst it'll ever be.
Well, because my first video that I shot in October 2009, which was 8 years ago, is still on YouTube. I was 60 pounds heavier. It was a horrible camera. I was shooting a house that had all tile floors with dogs barking, so it was echoing. Somebody was watching TV. I mean, it was horrible. I mean, like I said, but the thing is, I grew from there. I mean, even if you shoot, one of the things I would, and this is what I tell people that work for me sometimes, shooting the video of these are tours of houses, so this is not like a competition to yourself, is for practice, go shoot your own house. Do something. You're not going to publish it, but just get in front of the camera and just start getting used to being in front of the camera.
I agree with you 100%. Practice will help you learn what not to do in the future. Mm-hmm. Once you do it enough, you're going to know so many ways of how not to do something that it just comes out good. Right?
Absolutely.
So classic Thomas Edison principle there. Get to the light bulb already.
But so that we've talked about some of your successes now, I still strongly believe that we learn a lot from our failures and also from our biggest challenges. Would you be willing to share with the audience some of your challenges that you had either early on with the Metta Agency or even now with Prime Metta?
Yeah, I love failures. I love talking about failures more than successes because yes, they do teach you way more. Like I try to find people online that talk about their failures because it provides way more insight. So with Metta Agency, there's so many inefficiencies. So like I'm about to hit year 3 of an entrepreneurship for real. So I'm a baby in this world. By no means am I 100% mature or complete. I think I'm a perpetual work in progress. So with Metta, there's planning. Planning was something that was underutilized. It was kind of like, all right, just go. This kind of mentality of just do it. We'll figure it out later. Prime Metta, we plan everything before we even go out to do something. So if we're going to shoot a video, the video was shot before it being shot. Like there's a scene list, there's a shot list, there's a purpose to the shot. So every shot in the video was thought about, and every word in that shot was thought about. And so we apply the Pareto rule towards stuff now. Like let's spend 80% of our time planning and 20% executing so that we could be extremely efficient. The failure with Metta was not planning, and so projects that should have been delivered, I rather say it should have been finalized in 2 weeks, that were finalized in 2 months because of revisions and going back and forth. We learned that planning will help us build momentum, and momentum is what a young company wants to build growth. So we're super efficient now. That was a failure that taught me a lot this year, and it's something that I will tell people every time. Like, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
And that is so true. I mean, so many companies out there are just kind of like shot in the dark. They're just moving forward without really any consistency or without any plan. That's a very big lesson to learn because I mean, I've worked on movie sets before. I used to do stunt work back when I lived in North Carolina, so I understand about storyboarding and getting the shot list and scene list and stuff down. But if you're just going there just to wing it, then yeah, that it may take you twice as long than you think it's going to take. As you said, the revisions, the reshoots, like, oh, that angle was bad or that lighting was bad. Or so.
So with the planning for Metta, we did have email exchanges and general ideas. So like there was some planning. I made it sound like they were planning, but it was very low level planning. Yeah.
Okay.
Now it's a whole different ball game there's CRMs that are very robust that help you fine tune the whole process. There's a ton of failures that I can talk about, and it's funny that planning comes first to my mind because it's fresh, but there's so many other learning lessons that I'm sure we can dive into and explore.
Okay. Well, let's actually talk about some of that. What are some of the big lessons that you've learned? Because I know you're almost 3 years as an entrepreneur. What are some of the big lessons that you've learned as an individual that you think would be beneficial to another entrepreneur, either just starting out or trying to scale their business?
Yeah, I think the 3 things: systems, culture, and your team. So starting out with systems, what is that one thing as an entrepreneur that you do all the time but you haven't documented? Yeah, document it, make it into a process, turn that into a system so that when you bring team members in, they adapt to that system so that generates culture. So you want to think, like, because we have 3 people here in the company and we're growing to 6 starting Q1 2018. I don't want to let the growth of my company get out of control. So from the beginning, when it's just the 3 of us, I'm doing things that is not necessary now, but it will be extremely necessary for the future. Like with Metta, I never thought that way. I was always thinking in the now without like figuring out what will be needed in the future so that I could do it now so that when the future comes, I'm set. The systems, culture, and team really focus on doing one thing right, and then there's a domino effect. With culture, like, we're lifestyle first, and with Metta, we were more like, let's be hustlers. Hustlers in the sense of like, let's work a lot and take a day off maybe, and that's that. Now we're really just, let's work 20% of the time and have fun 80% of the time. That 20% of the time is so well planned out, so well done, it's so efficient that we can get 1 month's worth of work done in a week. So it enables the lifestyle. So we're responsible, of course. The motivation for us to do what we do is that the lifestyle of being able to travel, shoot vlogs, meet interesting people, go to interesting events, to create content. And with that content, guess what? It attracts more clients. So it's kind of like, so when you bring in the clientele and you're traveling, you're living this really busy lifestyle, you have a team to take care of the business for you. And that comes in because you set up a system that has a very vibrant culture. And so your team loves the whole situation. it's those three things that's where kind of like my mind lives in now as an entrepreneur. It's now that I'm advancing in the entrepreneurship age, these things are extremely necessary to have in place in order to build a thriving business of whatever kind that it is you're building. So those are three things that I truly, take to heart now. Those are things that I was failing at that now I'm thriving at.
Well, because before you were a solopreneur, so you're working by yourself, so you really weren't getting the ideas from other people. But now that you're dealing with two other business partners, then that's actually wonderful. And also, what I'm hearing is you're setting yourself up now for growth later on.
Absolutely, because I see the growth. Like, I absolutely see what's about to happen before it happens. And so it's my best interest to figure out, like, all right, what do I have to do to make sure that this growth will not go away? Because the worst thing that a business could do is lose a client. Like, I feel like a lot of people focus on getting clients when it's maintaining the client, keeping the client active. That's the true battle. And so when we have, let's say, 10 clients or 15 clients or 20 clients, because we'd like to go deep, not so much wide, how do you maintain that relationship? And because we're working with like huge companies, it's really interesting. We're very startup style, and some companies are really corporate style. Corporate being, the maxim for like systemizing stuff. We're very relaxed compared to that. And so when two cultures collide, that communication has to be effective for both ends. And so when I see those little small situations happening in the future, you need to set up a foundation, set up a base for how to communicate with corporate clients, for how to communicate with solo clients or celebrity clients. And so the team member goes into a folder within Google Drive, and then communication with corporate clients. All right, this is how you start out, an email. This is how you do this and do that. And so like I really go into how do we make this whole process super easy so that anyone can start this if they didn't have prior knowledge beforehand. They just need to go into the document and read. So having that vision allows me to be able to plan for the future. And if I didn't have this vision, or if I didn't have this like good vibe or good energy about what's to come, I don't think I would be doing this. I would be setting myself up for success. Yeah, I guess I'm just putting that in just for context.
Okay. And that's very good, because one of the things I talk about is work with it from the end in mind. So you're kind of doing the same thing. He says that you're saying, okay, if I'm going to have to hire somebody else to do this, this is what I need to do on Google Drive or Google Docs. Okay, this is the processes for that new employee or a new partner that I can go through. So that's phenomenal, because otherwise the learning curve is would be much longer for that person.
The time, your time is the most valuable thing we own. And so if you have to spend your time doing repeated tasks, that's when you need a system in place.
Absolutely. That's the whole purpose of having that system in place.
Yeah. And so we were like doing things, when companies merge, this is my first merger, like it's quite interesting. You have to adopt their causes and vice versa. So I had to implement new things into systems that really are weird and didn't make sense at the beginning, but now I'm seeing how it makes sense. And so systemizing is a pain, but it's a pain that only happens once. Instead of happening 30 times, 40 times, 50 times, however many times it is that it takes to explain something to someone.
Well, and then you can still tweak it, because once you say, okay, this is what it's like. So no, we can actually streamline this by doing this a little bit differently.
Correct.
So that just makes it for a much easier process in the future. That's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And well, Andrew, I do want to say thank you for being on the show today. Is there anything that you would like to share with the audience, either about what you do or about being an entrepreneur or about even doing a merger?
May I ask,
Sure.
like, primarily, who is your audience? What are they interested in?
The people that are normally listening to this show are mainly entrepreneurs or people that want to become entrepreneurs. So they're just starting out. They're trying to come up with the idea of what they want to do, and then they want to build their business from there. So they're going to be a lot of solopreneurs.
Are they startups? I mean, in the startup in the sense like they're just beginning, or do they have revenue? Is the revenue substantial, or is it minimal? Like, do you have an idea of that, or is it?
For the most part, it's startups.
Startups, got it.
Because that's been my primary focus, is helping people. Because I had an interview with a Russian lady just a few days ago, and her whole thing is, and we're looking at ourselves actually even doing some merging ourselves, is she's going to help them find their passion, and then I will take them from their passion to building that business.
Perfect.
Now they're going to be needing people like yourself, branding people. They're going to be video people, whatever they feel necessary. That's why I'm interviewing all different kinds of entrepreneurs.
Sure. So thank you for that premise. My advice to you is to build value around your name and what it is that you do. And you build a value around that using, in my opinion, the most optimal way is using digital landscape. So setting up like one social profile that you can focus majority of your time at. Don't focus on a plethora of profiles. Focus on like a Facebook or an Instagram or a YouTube. Just focus on one platform and drive all your efforts into that. Pair that with a content calendar, right? Because when you're creating content, you want to create a calendar to know when you're going to post what. Don't trust your memory. And then to create that calendar, you need to plan out what you want to say. And so something that you said, Kevin, was reverse engineer thing. So you want to be able to reverse engineer what you see happening 12 months from now as your success. Reverse engineer that to today, and then plan out your content and your calendar for that to happen. So when you start putting out content consistently, you start building awareness around your brand, your company, what you do, and people start noticing, like really just thinking about you. And so your process is not to sell, it's to evangelize, it's to educate. So when you educate someone, they're going to go back to the master, to the teacher for more help. And that happens to be you. So add value to your brand name, and then your company's brand. Time is limited when you're by yourself. So I always say, start with your name, your last name, brand that, be known for what you want to be known for, and just let people know that, hey, you happen to have a company that provides services around that problem that you're educating awareness around.
And I fully agree with you as well, because you did that with your vlogging, which is video blogging for those of you that don't know that word. And I'm actually doing the same thing with the podcast. My podcast is essentially launched every Thursday of a new entrepreneur. Now, I've only been doing this for about 5 weeks now for this season of the show, which is an interview show. So yes, it's getting that content out there, getting it out there consistently. And as you said, focus on one social media platform. Have one primary one that people can find you on. Then yes, over time, it may take months, it may take several months before you start getting results from it. But the thing is, you are building your brand by getting that content out there.
Absolutely. So, stay on top of people's minds. Post often.
Yes, I agree. So Andrew, if somebody wants to learn more about your business, or they want to engage with you about possibly using your video services, how can the audience actually find you online?
Yeah, our website is primemetta.com. That's METTA.com, primemetta.com. Follow me on Instagram at Andrew Metta, ANDREWMETTA, and we should be able to communicate through there. Okay.
So that was on primemetta.com, PRIMEMETT, that's 2 T's, A.com. And I'm on your website right now. I see that you do have a contact link on there as well, so they can contact you there. Also, they can look at some of your videos and services that you do on your website as well. So
that's correct.
So any last words, Andrew, before we sign off here?
Yeah, everyone, just spread more love, more peace, more positivity into the world, and smile more often. Life is short, so enjoy it to the fullest.
Oh, absolutely. And plan everything else so that you can actually have more time off. So
yes,
and enjoy.
Amen to that, Kevin. Thank you so much, man. It's brilliant what you're doing. So I wanted to thank you for having me, and thank you for creating more consciousness and awareness towards helping lives become better through good information. So I thank you for that.
Well, I appreciate you for being on the show as well. And thank you very much, Andrew. And again, everybody, primemetta.com. And this is Andrew Matthews. And thank you for being here.
Cheers.
See ya.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Life's Little Lessons with your host, author of Designing Your Own Destiny, Kevin A. Dunlap. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit kevinadunlap.com, facebook.com/kevinadunlap.author, and on Twitter @Kevin A. Dunlap. We'll catch you on the next episode of Life's Little Lessons.